Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So I go by the Blue Light Oracle, and today we're doing the fourth episode of the RPG Life, RPG Journey. So we're doing from the ages of 20 to 30 this year, or this time rather. Okay, and we'll be picking the piles with the Guardian of the Night Tarot. So let's see what cards come out for your piles. This will also be broken into two sections. It seems to be the easiest way to do it. So each pile will get a reading in regards to the journey or an exploration or whatever kind of journey between those years, and also love. And the second portion will be love and career, or love and how you make your money, let's say. Okay, so I think we've got, all right, so we've got pile 1 here, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. So let's take a look at which cards have come out. Put those there. Okay, so for pile 1, I'm going to adjust the camera. Alright, so for pile 1, you have the Queen of Swords, and this is what your card looks like. Okay, for pile 2, you have the Eight of Swords, and this is what your card looks like. Right. For pile 3, you have the Four of Pentacles. Okay, and for pile 4, you have the Four of Cups. Okay, so just adjust the camera. Alright, so take some time with your thoughts, see which pile calls out to you for your journey. See if you can also remember from episode 1, 2, and 3. I do have those episodes in a playlist on my channel, so go have a look at those if you haven't watched any of the other ones. This is episode 4, so this is from 20 to 30. So I'll leave you now to contemplate which piles you would like to pick. Okay, so welcome to the shuffling portion of the video. So very interesting cards coming out. A lot of challenges for sure for every single pile. So I'm going to shuffle the Archetype cards. But yeah, this has been quite fun. I thought that the teenage years was a lot more mild than I thought it would have been. But that was just how the cards come out. Alright, so this is all for your journey in this particular portion of your RPG life. Got one there. But it has been quite fun doing this. There's so much serious things going around the world, or on in the world. It's nice to do something kind of fun, but I have noticed that a lot of people have been talking about how certain things are actually relevant in their life. So that's interesting. Okay, these ones will also be red reverse as well, if they come up that way. So I'm not sure exactly 100% what the journey is supposed to be about. My guides were like, it's just definitely journey. Okay, that one's getting... They got 2 or 3. Got a few. These cards are actually pretty powerful cards. But from what I can see in my mind's eye is that these cards or this journey is about a big kind of adventure or challenge that has occurred between the ages of 20 and 30. It's more talking about a story now than what I originally thought this RPG story would go by. I thought it was going to go by skills and just like a couple of like little adventures and that kind of thing. But now we're talking about their lives, their story, this person's career. It's getting pretty in depth, and I was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. Obviously, not as popular as some like more serious kind of pick-a-piles, but I still stand by it for sure. It's still something that I enjoy doing, and I hope people enjoy listening to and kind of seeing how their story is unfolding. This might be too many cards. Okay. These two will be read reversed. Putting 2 here, and then pile 2 gets 2. I think we're just going to have... Take these 2 there. I think we're just going to have 2 tarot here, coming out together. All right. So I'm going to cut it, move these cards out, and then bring out some more cards so we can do the shuffling for the career and love connections or relationship connections. Okay, so welcome back again. This is interesting. A lot of the cards are staying, a lot of the piles or different types of cards. I thought I'd be changing out a lot of new cards, but looks like that's not happening. So this will be connections. I'm feeling like relationships, whether that's friends, family, or partner. I do feel like it's majority is going to be partner. So the archetype is going to be interesting because this is going to be who you are in kind of a working and relationship or connection kind of feeling. So let's have a look at which cards come out. But yeah, like I was saying before, this has been really interesting. It kind of was just for fun. I did like a very quick one ages ago, and like it wasn't popular, but it made me happy doing it, and I was enjoying it. So that's why I thought, you know what, let's do it again. Let's make it a series. The gateway is going to be interesting, how this fits in with like career and love. can kind of see how they'll fit in with journey or like a big challenge or something like that. It'll be interesting. See. Nope, not that one. I really like these cards too. It's very pretty. They also have some interesting and nice messages, I feel, in the book. So I'm going to do one each first. And we'll see if I grab another one. I think I will. Yeah, I think I will. We'll see if these all fit on the... Alright, this one. I think this one's definitely going here. So 1, 2, 3. Maybe just one of these. Yeah, I think just one. Okay. So that concludes the shuffling process. Feel free to skip below with your reading. So down below will be the timestamps for each one. I'll try to make sure I don't make a mistake with those like I did last one. I went back and corrected it, but sorry about that if you saw that. Anyway, enjoy your reading. Hello, Pile 1. So today you have chosen the Queen of Swords. So we'll see how that fits into your reading today. So I've split it into two. Here is connections or relationships and career, or how you make your finances. And here is the journey. So we'll see what comes out with this, because I feel like this is going to be some kind of challenge or some kind of path throughout your 20s. This is 20 to 30. So I'm going to start with the... I'm going to start from the bottom first. So you have the archetype of mentor. The light attributes is passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. Interesting. Passing on wisdom at this early age. And also the shadow attribute is inability to allow the student to move on to the role of master, imparting false instructions. Interesting. Right there. You also have protecting treasure. This makes a lot of sense just with this card here. With not imparting on knowledge or false information to keep the student a student. That's how it feels. You have astral realm, karmic release, healing the lineage, and boundaries. You have Victorian light codes. I thought 2 came out in this pile. So you have Victorian light codes with evolutionary downloads, recalling power, future thinking. Interesting. You also have leadership, quite clear with the mentor having some kind of power through knowledge, it feels like. Very intelligent. Yeah, look at this. So you have Melchizedek with higher learning. You have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further your progress. I will say though, you are kind of like, let's say, kind of like a guru, that kind of energy, but you're in a position where you know you're a guru. You know you have high intelligence or high knowledge, but there's always more. You're not so pious that you think you're the peak of knowledge. You're so intelligent that you know that there's no kind of limit. You also have blue calcite with the message soothing, inner peace, universal perspective, strong memory. Yeah. Very intelligent. We've also got the 9 of Cups. I think I can see exactly what's happening with this. And we have the 2 of Wands. This is very interesting because with the mentor and protecting treasure, it feels like you have knowledge or you have something that you're holding back. You are a teacher. You are teaching, say, your crew along this journey throughout your 20s. I feel like from the last episode, whatever this is, you've learnt a whole lot and you're teaching them along the way. The piles have been swapped, people picking from pile 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way through, which is exactly how you're supposed to do it. But I feel like for some, because it's already just coming, it's already splitting for me in some sort of way. But for some, this is like how to stay alive, like survival skills, like pickpocketing, things like that. And then for others, it's you've learnt something miraculous. So you've gone to like some specialized university or something like that in the past, and now you have this kind of knowledge. Both are good for your survival in this life, but it's just interesting being so young and being already so, let's say, enlightened in some way. It's like royalty without the crown. It's like royalty by knowledge, by specialization. If that makes sense. Let's just say it's more like a specialist. But yeah, you're definitely the leader of this group. You've been kind of working towards this. Maybe you weren't at the very beginning, but I do feel like you have kind of realized that from the early age, you had the skills, you had the knowledge, you were the intelligent one. So you were teaching people, but then realizing as you got older through, say, your mid to late 20s, that there was more out there to learn. So you've taken like a crew, I guess, or on an expedition of some sort. It's almost like going through some kind of awakening in your late 20s. Let's say that's probably the easiest way I can explain it to you. It's like, oh, okay, I have got some gnosis or some kind of past remembrance from a past life, maybe, or even just from experience. And now you're like, you know what I thought I knew, I did know, but I may have known like a tiny little portion of what the knowledge out there is about the specialized subject that I am looking at. And so I can expand that knowledge so much further by continuing or going on a new path. So near the end, I do see, or near the end of your 20s, you do get something, you do get the knowledge, but it's almost like be careful what you wish for. You've kind of gone a way of doing it, say, what other people might have seen as in the light, but you've kind of stuck into the neutral so you can dip into the shadow way of getting around things. It might have been faster, but it's like dealing with a trickier entity or something like that, making a deal with kind of like an entity who you thought you could outsmart. And so you got the knowledge, you got the skill, but there's almost like a regret in some way. Like it's made things a little bit trickier. So it's almost like a be careful what you wish for. You got your wish. And then I see with the 2 of Wands right at the very end that you have to make a choice on a new path. It's like, do you leave your crew? Maybe something happened to them or they're doubting. I feel like there's more internal turmoil with you than what they think. They're kind of following you, but they're following you because it's you. They're not really starting to think for themselves, and that's not what you were about. So you're kind of happy with all the attention in some way and passing on the knowledge, but they've kind of given up that. They're more like followers now. And so I think you're realizing that this isn't not for you and not how you really wanted to represent yourself. You kind of went through a lot though. I will say at the beginning with Protect Your Treasure, you were very secretive about your knowledge and about what you had. You were kind of like, say in today's society, someone who makes millions or billions of dollars doesn't go into the public eye often because they're not just hiding their wealth, but they don't want the attention. They're not like a celebrity who wants to be in front of everything or in like sponsorship or anything like that. They're just doing their thing. And that's kind of how you were at the start. And then you've gone through some kind of awakening. I want to say this evolutionary download, that just sounds like something like an awakening to me. Like you've opened up and really got more. It's kind of like you've been smacked down a little bit, like you got more knowledge or understanding of where you are, but the smackdown is in regards to your ego at the start. But I will say you had good intentions this whole time. So and near the end, I feel like you got what you wanted, but maybe it wasn't exactly what you expected it to be. So now you've got some choices to make, and we'll see what happens in the 30 years. But you definitely had a crew. You definitely had a crew through this, and the strong memory just feels like bringing back knowledge, understanding, universal perspective, really understanding where you are in the place of the universe. A lot of deep internal thinking. Reminds me of like monks or just monks going around and trying to understand the universe or the world, either going within or going on an expedition. I don't think this expedition was like really somewhere where you went far away and traveled all around the world. It's more like traveling to a particular special place and then going within to do something. I don't know what that is. It's like understanding who you are, astral traveling, something like that, going out into the universe astrally, remote viewing astrally, something like that, and teaching your followers how to do that. But I do feel like in the end they just turned into followers and not companions, and I don't think that was your objective. It's interesting with astral realms as well. This is why I'm talking about astral travel. It's like you got to really see different things, and with boundaries and karmic release, you got to release negative energy. But I will say with boundaries, you learnt that you do need to protect yourself, cleanse yourself before doing certain things. That's very important in this life, because at the start, I do feel like there was a lot of, let's say, psychic attacks or demon attacks, something like that, something that was getting into your mind. So the awakening was probably quite important for that. Because you were doing it before, I do feel like there was some kind of awakening, and this was like either a reawakening or awakening of other insight to the world. That's why it felt like more of a smackdown too, because it's like universe is like, no, you're way too far in your ego, get out, and then restart again, recalibrate. All right, so very interesting. So what I'll do is I'll just clear these, and then we'll have a look at your career and relationships, even though we can kind of see some of that here. Okay, so we're back. We'll have a look at your cards in regards to this career relationship kind of life within your 20s and 30s. So we already know a big journey that you've had. It feels like a very long journey. It pretty much feels like it expanded your entire 20s. So we'll have a look if there was any kind of relationships or career. Okay, so we have the Priest card. This makes sense with the last card. So we've got facilitate spiritual commitments, serves as a channel of spiritual energy. Like I said before, I was like, you did have an awakening during the 20s, but then again, you were already doing astral travel and stuff or something similar. So it did feel like this would make sense. All right, so the shadow attribute is violates the trust of your spiritual community, seduced by your own spiritual role. Okay, maybe we're going to touch deeper into your kind of path that you are on with your journey. You have Elder, move beyond ancestral patterns. There was something about ancestors in the last card, the ancestral realm. Even though I kind of turned it into like astral, it just felt like that more naturally, but now it's picking back up in my mind with this card. So there is something about your family connections as well. Interesting. This is so interesting. You literally got in the last section of your reading, Melchizedek, and now you're getting the Order of Melchizedek, which talks about embraced by the light, missions uncovered, don't give up. Something very important with Melchizedek. I'm going to have a little read of the book with Melchizedek about who he was and is, because I feel like that's important, so we'll come back to that. You have blessings, yeah, right in the middle. That's exactly where the Arcturian light activation, I feel like it was a blessing to be awoken in some way to what was happening around you. But I will say this is feeling more about the people around you, your chosen family, as well as your kind of past history and healing that. You have Commander Ashtar with call to action, take charge, lead by example, walk your talk. Again, so interesting. This was literally the same position as where the leadership card was from the Sacred Destiny pile. So again, lead by example. You were a leader and you still are kind of doing that in this pile. This is career and relationships. So I will see when it comes out with the rest of the cards. So you have the Strength card coming out. You have the Temperance card. You also have the Six of Wands reversed. This makes so much sense because it's right at the end, and it was also where the Wish card or the Nine of Cups reversed was, and this is the Six of Wands. It's like being seen, but also now being seen for not how you wanted to be seen. So it's like, be careful what you wish for. You're getting what you wanted, but not exactly how you wanted people to react to it. Maybe it's a good learning you learned that you can't control how people are going to react, but you can kind of guide in a more respectful or outward kind of way. So what I want to do is read from Melchizedek's card in the Keepers of the Light. Even though it's not on this particular pile, I just feel like it's important with the Order of Melchizedek coming out. And so just to know who he was. So interesting because you've got the Priest card as well. And Melchizedek is a high priest who is mentioned in the Bible book of Genesis and many other sources too. He is here to assist the earth through the ascension process, which is basically moving everyone and everything back to a state of love and harmony. He appears with a bright light around him and a long white beard to match his ancient high priest ways, and is said to have his own order of light-filled priests, who are able to help spiritual people develop their gifts and qualities. As he works on high energetic level, we can connect with him through sacred geometry and focusing on ancient star-shaped symbols. This is interesting because you already got priest, you got mentor in the last kind of section. This is your career. I will say, I feel like you are a priest or are from what I was reading with Melchizedek, you are kind of one of his light priests. And maybe that was a past life in this life. It's so interesting. And now I can kind of see where the outer move beyond ancestral patterns. It's like you had to move past your kind of history, how you grew up. It's almost like this is a fresh start from the episode 1, 2, and 3. You've moved beyond who you were as a child and a teenager. You've had to let go of a lot. I will say I don't see a lot of relationship building in this. This is more internal and dealing with yourself. Maybe there were a few little things, but I'm not getting a lot of relationships. Not a lot of long-term relationships. I feel like you're more about your career in this path. Moving out of your weakness, balancing your energies. This is all like a very spiritual kind of path that you've gone on. It's like very light, but it's almost like you've seen the light, you've gone into like, not gone and walked into the light, like passed away, but like you've gone into the light kind of life. While that is a good thing for most of the people around you and yourself, it's also got you stuck in your ego very early on in your 20s into your mid-20s. And then it's like, okay, we need to start learning more. So you've noticed your weaknesses and use them as a strength. And then Temperance, balancing your amalgamizing as well, your skills, your knowledge, your friendship with your group. I do feel like you are the mentor. This is not like your buddies. You are the mentor to this group of people. So this is what a kind of like the realization you had near the end of your 20s. So I just want to quickly read this. It says, let compassion be what you show to yourself and others daily. I feel like that is what you learned. It's like with the Strength card. Okay, I will also say with the Temperance card, it's about balancing your health as a #1 priority. I feel like in this life, you didn't exactly focus on anything other than your work and your teachings. Your health may have been something near the end of your life that was important to start taking care of near the end. But I do feel like we'll see what happens in your 30s, but I do feel like you've kind of come through a lot of understanding and a lot of like realizations that certain things from the past are just no longer going to support your happiness or your journey. So you've kind of moved that to the back. I don't know if you've really healed it. I feel like you've healed a lot of it, but I feel like there's still much more to heal coming into your 30s. Maybe the whole time, maybe this whole reason is to understand something from the past, but it's really about your own inner learning and own inner enlightenment. Hopefully, well, we'll see what happens in the future with regards to connections and relationships, because I do feel like parents' family has kind of been shifted out, like blood family, and it's more like chosen family, and these have been the followers who have kind of turned into followers instead of friends' family, but it's not giving them the empowerment. So we'll see how that shifts and changes in your 30s, because we're kind of cut off right now to the age of 30. And that is kind of where I'm going to leave your reading. So very interesting. Thank you very much for being here, pile #1. Feel free to give me a thumbs up if you enjoy the content, and subscribe so you don't miss any more videos. Otherwise, take care. Welcome in, pile #2. So here's your reading. So you've chosen the 8 of Swords. Very interesting 8 of Swords as well. Like that same stuck energy, but there's like wisdom and knowledge. You know how to get out. It's just actually making that effort, taking that effort. So we'll see how this will relate to your reading today. So it's split into 2. So we've got here is your career and relationships, and this one here is a journey. So your journey throughout your 20s. So you have Goddess. Interesting. So we've got light attribute is the feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. The shadow attribute is exploitation of the female nature and form. We'll see how that ties in. You have commitment. You have memories of Atlantis with spiritual acceleration, progress, and technology. Technology is standing out a lot. So we've got new beginning. You also have trusting heaven with Archangel Michael. You are safe, angels stand close, surrender your concerns and allow miracles to occur. A lot of powerful protective energy. You also have the black tourmaline with, like I just said, protective energy. You've got protective, anxiety relief, aura cleansing, and self-belief. This was a long path to get out of your own mind. Like maybe some of your early 20s, you kind of were just stuck in your mind, stuck in your feelings, stuck in your thoughts. You have the Prince of Discs. Yeah, this makes sense because the Prince of Discs is more of a slower moving knight, or prince, let's say, in this particular situation. So it does feel like planning, taking some time, and then really starting to move forward near the end of your 20s. We also have the Two of Cups. So interesting. We've got commitment here, even though this isn't the relationships, right? It's like some sort of contract was made, and here it shows it being kind of change, shifting, or breaking. Like with the Goddess, you were kind of strongly guided. We've got a Goddess card and Archangel Michael coming out. You were strongly guided to get out of your own way through this process. I will say with technology, it does feel like there's something in here with technology. It's like a creator of some sort. You have the ability to create new things, but the past is really dragged through whatever pile you picked before, something has happened there where it's just dragged onto this kind of section of your life, and it's been a challenge for sure. I do want to say though, in the beginning, in the middle of your 20s, new beginning coming up is not a coincidence. You really have started to change this. Maybe you made it, I see here, you've made a commitment with either yourself or with someone else external that has been something that's kind of kept you stuck. I can't see exactly what it is. It's got something to do with the goddess and technology or progress, spiritual acceleration. It's got something to do with these two cards. Maybe, let's say, for example, it's like, I can't see exactly what it's about, but it's like a patent. It's like you worked with someone, they took the patent, so your ideas are now being kind of used in a way that you didn't want to, or you're not getting the praise for, even though it was your idea. So you've kind of been stuck in a way, which I do feel like it's something that's not, with the goddess coming out, it's something that's not what we would consider technology. It's kind of like a magical technology, let's say, like, you know, in video games, like a ring or something that helps people with their mind, their goals, their traveling. I don't know if it's like a teleportation kind of device. It's something different, but it's not how we would normally see technology. I'm trying to look at it. It's kind of like, let's say, a crystal or a light that kind of, it does something. I can't really see exactly, but it's like, does what we would call like normal stuff. So, you know, we get into a car, but this might be a light that just teleports us there, instead of like a time travel machine type thing like that we would think of in Doctor Who or anything like that. It's something completely different that I haven't really seen before. But I will say, near the end, you got what you wanted. You were like, okay, I'm going to give up on this, break this contract, or change this contract in some way and start your new life, new beginning. You were protected, so I do feel like with Archangel Michael, it's like you finally started believing yourself and having faith in your journey and starting to plan and then progress. So it's very interesting. Yeah, I'm super interested in this light. It's like with the star, it kind of reminds me of what that is. It's like some star crystal or something that kind of does things that we would see as technology, but it's not normal technology. It's kind of like a mist or a light or a wave or a vibration, something like that. Okay, so that is what I see for your pile number 2 in regards to journey. So I'm going to clear the table and then we'll have a look at your cards in regards to relationships and career, because I feel like we kind of talked about this here, but we're going to maybe dive deeper or find out more information. So let's have a look. Okay, so welcome back. So we'll have a look at your relationship and your career. So we have storyteller coming through with the ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. Maybe that's what it was with the job. The technology was like some kind of symbol. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. So shadow attribute is making up tales that harm others. Okay, so that's what the problem was. Okay, so straight away from just the last section of the reading, now I kind of understand a little bit more about what you were creating. It was like using symbolism, not kind of how we would see symbolism, but symbolism to be able to be used in a particular way that helped with daily lives. However, I feel like with that patent kind of feeling, that other person or whatever that was, it's like making up tales that harm others. It wasn't really like a tale, but it was making up symbols that don't really harm people, but keep people kind of addicted. It's like with Coca-Cola or whatever, like not bad-mouthing Coca-Cola or anyone particular, but like soft drinks, having a huge amount of sugar in them so that keep people addicted or still thirsty. That's how that's kind of feeling. Okay, so we have Mother Earth with feeling loved and comforted. Okay, let's have a look. Got Temporal of Truth, Throat Chakra, Authenticity and Self-Expression. Yeah, you kind of came out of this challenge, and I feel like it's like connecting with the Earth in some way as well. You have the Wisdom card. Yep, getting your knowledge. You have Rider with Soul Flame. Rediscover a lost part of yourself. Experience relationship harmony and healing. Yeah, you definitely found someone here. I feel like this is like 23, 24, so it's coming into the middle, finally realizing maybe they helped you through this. They have that kind of energy, that nurturing energy, regardless of gender. It feels like someone, like a soulmate in some way. You're meeting a destined meeting to help you get out of the stuck energy, stuck contract, stuck energy. Very nice. So we've got the Knight of Wands again, very similar to the other Knight of Wands coming out that was talking about slowing down and recalibrating to move forward. Same kind of energy with this one. A little bit different though. There's like a mysterious, something mysterious about him, but it looks like going back to the beginning, your roots, the digging architect, this architecture, like not architecture, sorry, what is it? Archaeology, kind of going through the past to see what you can create in the future. So very interesting. You also have the Star card, absolutely. Getting back into your dream. This relationship feels very empowering as well. Like the gateway here just looks like being able to release a whole lot of emotions. They carry on, not really carry, but they kind of help with you dealing with your emotions. I feel like, yeah, while you help them, I feel like they're helping you a lot more than you are helping them. But yeah, definitely like a dream person coming true. And then near the end, I feel like breaking that contract was your dream. Yep, absolutely. It's so obvious. You've got the Fool card coming out right at the end. Yeah, so you realize the issues and this contract. Played such a big part. The journey was really about getting out of your own way, getting out of this kind of stuck energy, the stuck situation in your career. I want to say it's your career. It's like your passion. It's like your work. Getting out of it, planning to how to get out of it, how to use the symbols. I want to say the signs to start again, begin a new life, begin something new. Trying to see if there's anything else. I will say, I feel like you've figured out a way with symbols to bypass you've thought about it and you've been able to bypass it. You had to go into the past or maybe dig up some repressed memories or old life. But I do feel like you've found someone who is definitely, because Soul Flame, someone that's definitely a strong connection. They also have their own thing going on as well. They have their own intelligence as well. They're helping you more than you're probably feeling like you're helping them, but I do feel like them helping you is also healing them. They have their own story, so that would be interesting to dig into, but we can't in this particular reading, but that would be interesting because I feel like in this it feels like feminine energy. They have a lot of strength and patience and strength and resilience and that kind of thing. They're a very strong person or strong being. But yeah, I will also say they're kind of like either you are or they are this kind of dark horse in this whole story. It's like not in a negative way or bad thing. It's like a mysterious and kind of alluring way. So they definitely do have a past, and I feel like they have a very interesting future. So very interesting. But yeah, I will say with your relationships, your career, the career ties into the technology or whatever you were creating, kind of magical symbols, I want to say. And then, because the symbolism just shows here so obviously, even though it's talking about constellations, it's just like reminding me of that. And then getting back to wholeness, getting back to who you were, so you can start anew and start fresh again in your 30s. So I will say this is a very kind of huge shift out of your teenage years, out of your early 20s into like, and in a very enlightening kind of way. You've got a lot of skills, a very interesting path you've chosen technology-wise or magic-wise. It's like mixing magic and technology, or maybe they're one and the same. Very interesting. So that is what I see for you, pile number 2. So thank you very much for being here. Feel free to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed and follow if you like the content. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Hello, pile number 3. So today you have chosen the 4 of Pentacles, pile out of the way. Okay, so I have split it up into 2 sections. So your love or career relationships is here, and this pile here is going to be your journey, or like a main journey from in your 20s, a big path in your 20s. So you have the child nature with the light attribute, friendship with animals, communication with nature spirits. Very interesting. Shadow attribute is tendency to abuse animals, people, and the environment. So we'll see how that plays into your journey. You have dry desert reversed. You have halls of amenity, initiation. So this is secrets revealed, treasures uncovered, initiations. This is so interesting. I do feel like there was some kind of lost in the journey, kind of lost in your early 20s, lost feeling. But something shifting for sure here. Some kind of change. But I will say, I feel like you were almost forced to take this deal or take this change. We'll see what the rest of the cards say. So we have the Trust card. You have Almoira with Awakening Presence. The universe is with you. Wear a cloak of protection and love. Okay. You also have the Fire card with Passionate Creation, Travel, and Courage. Yeah, things are moving near the end. This is such a familiar theme in all of the piles today. You have the Nine of Wands. Yeah, definitely was a challenge. You have the Moon card. This is an interesting Moon card because the Moon card can always talk about fears and that kind of thing, but this one is kind of taking the power of the moon and using it to your benefit. The power of nature. Nature is definitely part of this. We've got, not just because we have the child of nature, but the animals here. There's so many little animals. I don't know if, because it's talking about abuse of animals, people, environment. I don't feel like you abused animals exactly, but you definitely didn't care about the environment at one point. The dry desert just talks about wandering lost and alone and kind of not knowing where you're just like a wanderer. You don't know where you're to direct your energy. I will say here, the halls of amenity initiation, you're kind of like pulled out of a situation or unlucky kind of thing. So it's like, it's almost, this is how I kind of see it. It's like you're walking around with a whole bunch of rubbish and you just dumped it in the forest and then kept walking. And what happened was some kind of dryad or some kind of earth spirit came out and was like, you have 2 options. We either kill you or you do, you become like a guardian for the forest. I will say it's not like it was that threatening, but it does feel like you didn't have much of a choice. But it was like a good option. So that's why it's like secrets revealed, uncovered. It was like a blessing to have this magical moment in your life, because it did pull you out of this just wandering. You were kind of like aimless, aloof, not sure what you wanted to do in your life. And then because of all that you learned, you finally found your trust in yourself, trust with your journey, some kind of place to call your own, I want to say, or where you should be in life or where you should be in the world. You found your place in the world is what I want to say. Trusting that the universe is with you as well. The wearing a cloak of protection and love is interesting because it does kind of say that because you didn't know all this stuff, you didn't believe it, you had no idea. This is not like an awakening. It's kind of like a, hey, we're actually here. We're just popping up and to tell you to stop destroying the planet. You're now going to be like a planeteer, let's say, like, you know, Captain Planet kind of feeling. Maybe not exactly that, but it does feel like you're going to have to start looking after the planet and start treating the planet with respect, and then also teaching others that same thing. I'm not sure if you did that, but it looks like you did a whole bunch of travel. Maybe you're traveling to other forests and that kind of thing. It's like a journey, but it's like a journey that you finally wanted to do. And the moon card more feels like getting out of those fears. You no longer see the illusions. You're seeing things that you didn't know were there. Like seeing spirits, I want to say, but it doesn't have to be that exactly. So very, very, very interesting. It's like an interesting journey in your 20s. It's like kind of a bum kind of feeling, like, you know, just like when I say bum, I don't mean just like homeless. I mean like just someone that doesn't care about anything, doesn't even respect themselves as much as they just should be and deserve to. But it's kind of like, you know, you came from a pickpocketing or thieving kind of background, didn't really care about the environment or the world, or even your kind of respect your own life. You kind of had a choice. I don't think it was exactly death or this. It's kind of like you choose this and we'll give you a whole lot of secrets and understanding, but you will now have to also, it was kind of like a deal, but you also now have to start respecting the earth, the planet, your environment, the animals, that kind of thing. And so you became this child of nature, or this person of nature, by taking this deal. You definitely took it anyway, because the other options was just wandering and doing nothing. So very interesting, getting back into your own passion and fire near the end of your 20s, so that's kind of cool. Or it doesn't feel like it's near the end, it's more like in the middle. Once this happened, it was very quick. It was like a whole lot of learning that you had to learn from these forest or nature beings, and then moving into the future. So I'll clear the table and we'll have a look at your relationship and career cards. Hello, Pile 3. So back again with the relationship and career type path. So let's have a look at the cards. Oh, interesting. So we have the Virgin card with light attribute is maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirit. So symbolic purity. Shadow attribute is fear of intimate union. Have a look at how the Virgin comes into relationships. Very interesting card to come out. You have the Sky Father with trust the unknown. I feel like this is playing into your role as like an earth guardian or like a nature guardian. You have the Holy Grail with inner discovery, finding sacredness. You are what you seek. I mean, what else can I say? It's so obvious that it's getting back into this kind of nature spirit, which what I was talking about with the last reading. The last section of your reading. The journey. It's like inner discovery, finding sacredness. It's going within to find this as well. It's kind of like it's playing more into the story. It's like before you were kind of like in your ego and the material, and then coming through, finding out that there's more to life than just making money, stealing money, whatever you were doing. So you have community, yeah. And look, it's with the trees. It's like you changed. You're seeing that trees are kind of like, it's almost like tree hugger kind of feeling, but it's more like nature is the community. You kind of see that vibration, that light from the community, from the natural things on the planet. Ooh, we also have the Divine Director, intervention and purpose. Divine intervention is occurring. Know that you're being guided. Happiness is your purpose. So I do feel like we'll see what happens here. But I do feel like you have met someone, or you're about to meet someone, maybe later on. Maybe they are also kind of like these guardians. It's such an interesting word to use. It's almost like in between life and death kind of feeling for you. It's almost like with whatever was happening before with the kind of story about the rubbish being dumped. It does feel like you kind of were doing that and kind of almost passed or kind of got sick or something like that, and the nature gave you the opportunity to save your life. So it's just interesting. You have the Ace of Wands, very nice. This talks about a new beginning. This was a new beginning career-wise, but there's also more involved. Let's see. So you have the Four of Pentacles again. So it's very interesting. You got the Four of Pentacles twice. There is something in here that I need to read. And you have the Ace of Cups reversed. I want to read the Four of Pentacles though, because I do feel like there's something in here. So this says, people withhold for many reasons, whether to manipulate and control, they're scared or have trauma. Whatever the reason, the person who is withholding needs to accept responsibility for the direction they are pushing the relationship. Shutting out someone that you love is a conscious choice to push them away. If you need space, communicate that. Take the time and sort yourself out. Very interesting, because we've kind of got a double whammy with that. I will say, I do feel like you've kind of met someone within your guardianship. It's like a connection of some sort. I don't know if they are a like soulmate or a soul connection, but they are kind of like a spirit connection. So they're on the same plane as you, or in the same kind of type being as you. Because I do feel like you've kind of shifted from this like humanoid type being into this half life kind of being. It's kind of odd to say, because I don't know what that would be in the real sense of the world. It's kind of like, it's reminding me of these okay, so there's these snails, I think they're snails or some kind of bugs anyway. There's a mushroom or a fungus type things that spores out, and when it touches certain animals, or not really full animals but like insects, they kind of become brainwashed, or they don't control their whole bodies, and they end up like, honestly, if you Google it, they flash their eyes, like snails or whatever they are, flash their eyes like all these weird colors, which attracts birds and other things to eat them, because that's how they spread their spores, I guess, if you want to call it like that. I'm not sure how mushrooms work, but that's kind of like the fungus infects them, and so they go all the way to they get brainwashed and they go all the way to the tips or the tops of the plants, and then flash those lights so they can get eaten. It's really interesting, and it's kind of sci-fi looking when you think about it, but it's just something that happens in nature. I will say with this connection, I feel like you're still in it, but it's a very rough beginning. Like, it's a very slow start because you're inexperienced. We've got the Virgin here. I'm not specifically talking about a sexual relationship Virgin. It can be that, but it's more like inexperience with relationships, and this is into your late kind of 20s, because the Ace of Cups is talking about self-care as well, repressing emotions, disharmony, learning how to feel again. I don't feel like you really learned how to feel at the beginning, because you were kind of just ignoring your own feelings. So near the end of your 20s, you've started to grow with the Ace of Wands, like developing in this relationship, but it's a whole learning for you, especially more than your partner. Your partner's kind of like teaching you, I guess, in a way, and kind of lucky in that sense, because you're so inexperienced of how to be yourself in a relationship. There might be some issues with self-love as well in this connection. Sorry, not in this connection, but with yourself. So it's talking about, while being in this connection, make sure you're looking after yourself, and also learning how to be yourself in a relationship. That's how that's feeling. But yeah, very interesting. This half-life kind of, I did not expect that kind of feeling to come through, but now I get it. It's like, it wasn't like you were forced to be this guardian. It was more like this was kind of the only option besides dying, and that's it. That like an ending. You're definitely with people that care and respect you and look after you. You are learning so much, but we've got the community with this like rainbow, and even the Ace of Wands in this depiction is like a lovely kind of blossoming beginning with this person. But yeah, kind of not speaking your truth, just expecting them to understand, which never works in a relationship. You have to say what you mean and feel. Otherwise, how can people know? They're not mind readers, and I don't believe that these beings are mind readers. They do have some kind of sense, though, with regards to nature. So it's got some kind of like feeling. But yeah, doesn't mean that they're mind readers. And just like us on planet Earth, we're not mind readers either. So it's feeling like you're learning a whole lot about relationships and that kind of thing. So thank you very much for being here. So that's the end of the reading. Feel free to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. Also, subscribe if you don't want to miss any more videos. Otherwise, take care of yourself, have a good New Year's, and I'll see you in the next video. Hello, pile number 4. So welcome to your reading. So you have chosen the 4 of Cups. So we'll have a look at how that plays into your reading today. So this has been split into 2. So this here is your career and love, and this is a journey. So your journey through your 20s to your 30s, to 30 years old. Okay. So you have Samaritan. I can't remember if this has come up before, but it's interesting. So this is a journey. So the light attribute is refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore. That's so interesting. This is so pile 4 kind of energy again. Shadow attribute is exacting appreciation and recognition for the help you offer. So this is like expecting. But exacting kind of feels like drawing it out. It's like, love me kind of thing. Like, appreciate what I just did. Or else. So you have the One Ring Circus. Yep, going solo, it looks like. You've got the Orion activation with Supernova, recreating, renewal, rebirth by light. Okay, kind of plays into how I felt. Pile 4. I don't know what it is about Pile 4. I feel like you have such a clear, particular path. It's such an interesting one because the rest of the piles feel like they move around a bit. But this one feels like it's just the same. Again, it's kind of the same. Not exactly the same. You have grown and changed throughout the life, but it just feels like it's the same life, if that makes sense, instead of like new stories each week from each pile. Pile 4 just feels like there's some kind of trajectory, I want to say. But anyway, we've got the Orion activation, Supernova, recreation, renewal, rebirth by light. I do feel like now we're more into the light than we were into the darkness. The shift has changed for sure, but you're still solo. You still kind of expect certain things. There's still some kind of shadowy aspects. We have abundance, of course. You are, as always, protected. You always have everything you need. So we have Kali Ma with facing fear. Major spiritual changes are unfolding. This is your chance to soar. So interesting. Kali Ma is interesting as well because Kali just reminds me of getting things done, but maybe quicker than, say, more softer way. Just like doing it the hard way. It's more like, hey, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. It's going to cause some kind of shift and like maybe go through a lot of pain, but the results are going to be there. That's how it feels with Kali Ma, especially in this section. But I feel like that's very your energy anyway. You're like, yeah, I'll work with you because I want to get results. So you have the Emerald with unconditional love, beauty, recovery, healing past lives. I feel like you're going to have to recover if you're working with Kali Ma. So we have the 5 of Wands. Yep, there's the challenge. Thought there would be some difficulty. That makes sense. And yeah, healing, you're going to have a lot of time for yourself, but you're kind of doing this alone again. This is all your own, on your own. And you have the 9 of Discs reversed. I'm interested to see this 9 of Discs reversed because I think there's a story in here. So I'm going to read directly from the book. So the 9 of Discs reversed talks about represents walling ourselves away from the world in order to conserve resources. This action may be due to past experiences with scarcity or being taken advantage of by others. But in any case, it is important not to hold your successes to yourself. If you want them to truly satisfy you, what you have to offer is important. I thought we were out of this being watched or being monitored, but I feel like, yeah, in your 30s, it's kind of like that's still there in some way. you've kind of figured out a lot of it, and I think that's why you kind of called in. I will say you've kind of called in this spiritual being. It doesn't have to be Kalima, but it's someone with that kind of energy. It's like, face your challenges. You kind of uncovered what they were doing. You thought you were alone, and then you've realized and you've taken the fight to them. Like, normally this is about a challenge, but this feels like a fight. This feels like some kind of conflict with these. I said last time, I think it was scientists and shadow people, or like the MIB came out, and I was like, oh, stalkers. So interesting. But yeah, both of them. I feel like you've kind of uncovered both of them. You've kind of uncovered the shadow people in some way first. I don't think you've got rid of all of them, but you've kind of uncovered them, and the scientists were like documenting that. And then you've uncovered them and they're all gone. So I feel like the scientist kind of like experiment feeling has gone. But you are helping other people. You are using your gifts and talents. You've got so many skills in this particular life. You've got so much that there's no point even listing them all. It's like whatever you want, you can get. And I was talking about scarcity here. I don't think it was scarcity of material. It was scarcity of emotions and feelings, and that's why you're kind of like this, expect certain things. We'll see how you progress in relationships, because that'll be interesting, because it looks like you wanted to do everything in this path solo, but we've got unconditional love, so I feel like there might be something in here, finding that like secret or special person, or even unconditional self-love. Maybe that's what it's more talking about, but you can get whatever you want in this life. Abundance is just coming out, just saying like, you know, whatever you do, wherever it comes from, you've kind of got it. I do feel like the lack of emotions and that kind of thing is coming through with the Four of Cups a little bit as well. So I'm going to clear the table. This is your journey. So have a look at that. Hopefully that helps you out with your journey. The camera's a little bit wonky, but I will clear the cards, and then we'll have a look at your relationships and career. Okay, welcome back, pile 4. So this is career and relationship. I'm very interested in seeing how this is. Like, the path was interesting, but I feel like this will clarify the path in some way. Oops. This one want to come out first. We'll do this one first. Okay, so we have Direction Guardian with Choose Your Path. So interesting. I mean, you kind of have that ability to do whatever you want as well. It's going to be interesting to see how your 30s go, because I feel like with getting rid of some of the shadow people and the scientists, or the people that are following you around, you have opened yourself up to, you've lost that protection, because there was some kind of protection in that, as well as kind of like a negative aspect. There was some positive in there as well. So you have the Addict with Light Attribute, helps you recognize and confronts addictive behaviors, compromises integrity and honesty, allows an addictive pattern to have authority over you, over your inner spirit. Interesting. So you have the Stargate Heart, Heart Chakra opening, unlocking generosity. Nice. Yeah, so maybe with that path at the start, whatever you were doing, because you can kind of do whatever, so it's hard to like pinpoint a job, but you are helping other people, but it's almost like there's some kind of addicted behavior here with regards to that. Maybe it's addicted to praise. But Heart Chakra, so you're kind of coming into your own, you're kind of learning and growing up a little bit emotionally, but it was like very late, I feel. So this heart opening is just like the opening is like acknowledgement beginning more than cure. Transformation, there we go, makes sense. So we have Green Tower with Supreme Protection. You're protected, cords are being cut, move beyond limitations, and trust. This is interesting, Green Tower coming through. I feel like that was tying into what I was saying with you're protected, but near the end it's like there's potential for, I don't know what's going to happen, but something's going to happen. We'll see. So we have the Tower card. Yeah, huge shift in your look. we're talking about career and personality, career and relationships, but I do feel like your relationship is really with yourself. So you've had to transform, but it was like a huge shock because it was shaking your world. Oh, look at that right at the end. So we've got the Three of Cups. It's starting to look at people as, I feel like you look at people like they are aliens or something. Or maybe you feel like you're the alien, you just don't fit in throughout almost your whole life. And now you're starting to do this huge change and opening up to emotions and love and care. And so you can now see them as like companions or friends or something like that. So this is very interesting. And you also have the Ace of Swords. Yeah, this whole thing is a new mindset. I can't say it's like the Ace of Cups exactly, because the Ace of Cups would be a new emotional. This is like emotional, but it's kind of, you're doing it from a logical point of view. It's like, these people aren't just like cows that I can kind of milk and then move on with life. You're seeing them people as people. That's how that's feeling. So this does feel like more internal relationship with yourself more than it does anything else, but it's like you're doing it in such a way that's so interesting, because how we would, like us humans would do a new relationship or kind of think about emotional, we would think of like the cups, but you're thinking of it from a logical point of view. Like it's more logical to be friends with these people. I feel like you're going to have a lot of emotional journey eventually. There's going to be more. You're going to go through these tower transformation moments a lot in your life, pile 4. So it's very interesting. It's like a very logical kind of based way. You do have a lot of magic and power. Like you can do this. You probably burnt down the house. The lightning didn't even matter. Maybe you created the lightning too. Who knows? But it was like a big shock change. And then it awakened this kind of new path, new way of thinking, new idea. And then we've got the cups here. But I do feel like there's more emotional learning to be had, because you didn't have the best emotional upbringing, I want to say, from the past piles. I don't even know which piles you picked, but that's just how it's feeling. Maybe you did, but something shifted and changed. It's interesting because I do feel like if you did have a relationship, I don't see it continuing in your 20s. It's more like realizing that you need to help yourself. Because even here, if you look at this with the addict, it's kind of pushing away the water, or it looks like air or water. It feels like that's pushing away your emotions. You can literally like pluck it out of your own head, emotions, and you kind of did that. And it's like a whole learning of turning that back on. So it's very interesting. So you always have the wildest kind of pick-a-piles or journey in this RPG life, pile 4. So thank you very much for being here. If you've enjoyed, give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you like the content. Otherwise, take care of yourself, have a good New Year's, and I'll see you in the next video.